Hey!
Oh.
Good morning, everyone.
Is it night?
No, it's morning.
Okay, if you say so.
Welcome to Spearhead Game Studio.
Is that a lie too?
No, this one is true.
Okay. just checking.
It's weird, guys. It's weird to be in between you. Okay.
So we are with our good friend and... yeah, you have your cues. When we present you, there's music playing.
Epic introduction.
Yeah.
There we are.
So we are tonight with... so I'm Simon.
I'm Malik.
And tonight we are with Guesdon, who was the creative director of Assassin's Creed 4. So he's kind of the big shot of Montreal right now.
No.
But before being a big shot, he is our friend.
Yes. For quite a long time now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, right?
Actually, we kind of got to know each other on Assassin's Creed 2.
Yes.
Where we were all game designers, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Game conception of AC2 back in 2008, I think.
It was in 2008, yes. For me, August 2008.
Yeah. I started on the project on March 2008, and you joined a few months after. Yeah.
Okay, you're bragging already. You're going this
No.
this world.
Jean was first, okay?
So I was there 6 months before, but
I mean, we needed you. We needed you guys.
Cool.
Right?
So Jean is really a great guy. So
yeah.
he's so the thing is, I've been at Ubisoft for like 5-6 years, and when I'm asked if I had a mentor there, there's just like two guys that come to my mind, and the first one coming to my mind is always Guesdon, who really made sure, because I was very passionate and intense, but I had potential, and he detected that.
Pretty intense indeed. Pretty intense. Well, it's I'm honored that you say that, Simon, because at so many levels, I always considered you, as a great designer that I had to learn from, actually. But so yes,
I think we have like we have quite different temperament.
Yes.
Personalities.
Temper.
Yes.
Yeah,
quite different
that's
temper.
An understatement.
But still, I was kind of very young in this field, whereas you had like because like you were a game designer at Ubisoft, but before that you've been designer for like much longer.
But not in not in video games.
Yeah. So in toys.
That's my little specificity.
Yeah.
And
but that brings you like a different perspective on things, basically.
And I know you understand that.
Absolutely.
Right? we share that same background of study in industrial design, and I think we both think that this is probably one of the best best studies in terms of how to design, how to embrace problems, and problem solving.
Absolutely,
so,
yeah. Precious skills. But back when I was at university, I was wondering what I'd do with that, and then gradually it became clearer as I went in the industry and realized, oh, okay, that's actually useful skills.
Because it's really what I find really interesting about this type of formation is that it's really about a methodology, and so that you can then apply on many different subjects.
Yeah,
so by the way, they are both speaking about industrial design.
Yes.
Yep,
because this is both.
And we are now both of us doing video games.
Yeah.
Right.
So just so you know, tonight is a new formula we're trying. So normally we are doing 1 hour design challenge, so at least if we have nothing interesting to say, there will be something funny at the end. This time around, no. So hopefully we will have something interesting. Also, we are tired, it's the end of the week, we're a bit drunk and we just ate, so these are the excuses where we could fail. And if we do succeed and if it's still awesome, it's because we're superheroes.
Cool. Yeah, well played.
Alright, so now the disclaimer are done.
Yeah.
Good.
So, alright, Guesdon, what did you bring tonight? I think you brought a couple of toys.
Did you bring old videos from Les Rois de la Magouille as well?
No, I didn't. Actually, I know you...
Are you starting this with Les Rois de la Magouille?
Really?
So, Les Rois de la Magouille means Kings of Con, somehow. It's a web series we did back then.
You wrote, and you convinced us actually to participate into this crazy adventure.
Alright, so if you guys behave, we'll show you some footage tonight.
So
you know what? You should tease our audience with that. all along the show to make them stay. And
Oh
bring
yes!
them
Oh
at
my
the
God, you're so
very
clever.
end,
So,
right?
Wow.
so I'll tell you what Les Rois de la Magouille is. Les Rois de la Magouille is a web series that we did together in 2009 during the crunch of AC2,
Yes.
where I was the writer, he was the lead
Actor.
Character, yeah.
and Malik was doing everything else. So this is what we did back then, and it's the thing though is that he is not an actor.
No.
I am not a writer or a director or anything else like that. Like I never made a movie before,
We know you're a poet.
and he is not everything else. Okay, he is everything else. In this case,
And some other things.
so it was kind of a very amateur thing we were doing. At the same time, we were doing like this AAA production, super high quality thing. So it was kind of an interesting contrast. Plus, we did not have time to do that in reality.
No, but I think honestly, when I remember this period, it's something that we really enjoyed, and that even if our free time was already very short, it was kind of how do you say that, in soupape, to let the pressure.
True, it was
goes
really
out,
like having
relief,
fun
yeah,
together
exactly.
and making jokes and
But that's the thing, right? There's so much pressure, it's so hard to... And honestly, Assassin's Creed 2, like the end of project started very early. So we were under a lot of pressure, and like having this weird random thing to do on the side was just great to...
And I think that's also something that, in this big production, you're really... you have control on very actually little things. You're really focusing
Hi,
on
Gidas.
I think you have fans.
Hi, Farfaddy. But it was giving us also the occasion to control something from A to Z, and to really make our own stuff. I think that was cool.
Yeah, there's something about the video game industry where it's such big teams. It's like hundreds of people on AAA project, and you don't really never ever feel you have the ownership on anything. So it's like kind of you feel like you contribute to something awesome, but at the same time it's not your product. It's just like you are.
Well, yeah, I think it's yours. But
Okay, you're a creative director now. It's,
No.
it's another type of question for you.
No, because actually it's the same, right? My job, and that's what I told to the team on Black Flag at first. I have a specific role to play on that project, but I won't do anything without the team, right? And at one point, like you said, it's so big. It's if I do well my job, then the project goes. But then other people need to take the role, right? And there are so many details in the end that you can't be everywhere.
Yeah, so many unsung heroes in productions, basically people you don't know, but actually did an important part without
Yes.
which.
I had at one point this conversation with a guy who was saying, what is your job? Designer? Oh, really designer on which project? Assassin's Creed 2. I was, cool, me too. Yeah, but like the exotic gameplay,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
kind of,
Yeah,
they
it
are
was
like
another
cells
floor.
everywhere.
Yeah,
But,
crazy.
This is why the team is important,
Mhm.
because and the way you communicate, the vision and what the game is about, to make sure
Speaking of which, that's actually what you're gonna talk to us about today, correct?
Oh wow, good transition there. I saw what you did there.
we see the MC right? Refocusing us. Well, I'm just actually I've developed some tools to actually keep control, or actually keep at least a good level of understanding of what the scope of a project is, and I've started this with AC2 exactly, because if you remember it, so AC2 was really big. It was a really big adventure.
Such a memorable project, honestly. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
It was what I was imagining the AAA industry, that
Really?
how it should be. With because there was Sapin and Duff and all those passionate guys, and you and Malik and Jeffrey, and there was a true passionate energy on this project that I never really saw.
In every team, I think, honestly, in every team. And but the thing I remember myself saying, during AC2, it's we were keeping repeating to ourselves, it's big, it's way more bigger than AC1, and I'm a very visual guy, right? So I always need to see things in order to understand them. So the mind mapping stuff, this kind of stuff. And so I always wanted to see it. Say, okay, we are saying it's bigger, but can we see it? And so at the end of AC2, that's what I did, actually. I had some time, and I spent two weeks, I think, or 2 or 3 weeks, doing something that would recap the entire content of AC2.
So okay,
You
so
want
you
to
did
see
so you did the scope. No, but I just want to add a couple of details of why you should do that in the first place. Because the thing is, a video game project, especially a huge one like Assassin's Creed, is incredibly multifaceted. And you have art, you have story, you have gameplay, you have missions, you have like all those things moving, all those things being iterated on by different teams that cannot like be 100 transparent toward each other because it's just not manageable. And at one point, if you are not careful enough, it's really hard to have any form of consistency on the project because each one are pushing on their thing and they're not really aware of what's happening around. So there's a huge communication challenge, especially on huge projects.
And one thing that struck me when I joined the industry, so when I joined Ubisoft in 2005, is that we have so many tools to track the micro details. So just think Perforce, SharePoint, servers, Excel, all these tools we have to track every single file, and this we have. So what I call the low level, so really the material, the code, the data, everything. We have tons of tools to track that, to organize them, to sort them, etc. What tools do we have to actually keep track of the high level vision? Of the high level, to keep something which is understandable by everybody on the project. Because when you have such big teams, and I think it's valid also for smaller teams, that the language of a programmer, of an animator, of a designer, of a concept artist is not the same. They're not focusing on the same facet, like you were saying, of the project. And so what do we have as a tool to tell the same story and to show the same thing to all these people with different languages?
And for them to understand where they fit exactly into this big picture.
Yes.
Exactly. Honestly, on Assassin's Creed 2, personally, communication was, I feel, one of the biggest challenge. And I really feel like for most of the project, I would go from 9 in the morning until 6 p.m. just running from one side to the other to try to gather the information and share them and have people like knowing everything. And then at 6 p.m. I would start working.
Yeah, it's true. I did exactly the same thing.
It felt like that for me. Like when I think about AC2, there's a big part of.
But this anyway remains. I mean, that's part of the job. The direct communication with people is key, and you don't communicate on a daily basis. I think through documentation.
Yeah.
I mean, documentation is here to either show the direction and make everybody on board to say, okay, we're going there all together, or to archive things and say, okay, here's what we did. And so basically, if I want to come back to the scope, what I did here was more the archiving side. So I don't know if we can look at it.
So this is the
sure.
This is your
Well, this is what is this?
So
okay. I will get more coffee.
Yeah, can you bring me some as well?
This is AC2 scope. So it's I made it big. So it's 40 inches high. So it's made to be
representative of the size of that game.
It's made to be printed on a plotter, and so it's several meters long. And so here I try to organize the content of the game. So starting on the left here with really the core of it, which is the story, and all the side missions and the side activities. And the progression. And then also you have the collectibles on the down. You have all the gameplay loops and systems, all the locations, the menu structure, the add elements, etc. And so, for example, I started on the left with the progression because for this type of game, and here I want to insist that it's valid for this type of game, I think, but not for all of them, right? So here we have a narrative game with a very delimited, and controlled story. So this is a story. Every single dot is a mission, and you see which one unlock which one. You see the number of sequences. You see the different models that we wanted to use and when they appear. So when does Ezio get the assassin suit, for example? On the top of it is the progressive introduction of skills and activities, you know. So and with our what we call our gameplay pillars. So the blue ones being about stealth, the green about the navigation, the free run, and so here's the progression of the game. And on the below is the introduction of side activities. So as you can see here, the green. So the third mission of the game in the past is the race between Ezio and Federico, his brother, which basically opened the races, right? The races of the game. And this is how the game basically unfolds itself. And through as you can see here, you can stop the story. When the story is over, you can still continue for the rest. Here was, I will go through that, but it was the comparison between AC1 and AC2 in terms of skills. Here I tried to represent all the main gameplay loops and systems, so conflict loops, the notoriety, and how you go through, you know, from notorious to incognito, etc. How the viewpoints, what do the viewpoints unlock on the map, the free run, and here you see different systems linked together. So the live bar, the codex loop, the economic system, and so the codex loop can give you some live bar, you know, blocks. The economic system also, while when buying some armors, with the money you can also buy, hire some groups, and so the group manipulate, etc. So to me this is really important because this is where you should be able to see.
This is my section.
Yeah, really?
But this is the section I've
so
worked on.
This is where you're supposed to see if your systems are actually well integrated and you don't have what I call a Frankenstein as a game, you know, with systems that don't talk to each other. Mm-hmm. So all the maps, all the different locations we will play in, the icons, the structure of the menus, it was more functional, the different elements and enemies. So as you can see, and here we had all the, I'm sorry, where?
What happened?
Okay, here all the different collectibles and what they unlock progressively in the game, plus 3 Easter eggs.
Easter eggs? What were the Easter eggs?
Well, it was just the fishing pole.
There was a fishing pole?
Yeah, that you could fight with, actually. Fishing pole, the broom, and I wasn't aware of the, you know, the kind of the octopus under the Venice LGS.
Yeah, that was a Singapore Easter egg.
So this was AC2 big scope. So as you can see, it's not, you don't have everything, but the main big things.
Hey, hold on, let's do some spoilery stuff. Romania?
Yes.
Okay.
With Farley.
Oh, okay. How about Rome? So it was planned to go to Rome, yeah?
no, there is Rome in AC2. It's just it's an LGS.
There is
it's
Rome.
an LGS. And
well, it's the map, the final map.
Damn it, there's no spoiler here?
No.
I'm trying to find
Rome.
something.
See, Rome here.
Yeah, it's
but there's a spoiler.
linear.
I did not know about the fishing pole.
With the Vatican.
It's pretty minor. I was looking for something bigger. Okay.
Okay.
So actually, we did respect the scope since everything you showed
No.
here.
We did not respect the scope.
What?
He did respect the game with the scope. He did that after the game was
Yes.
finished.
Okay, so you did this retroactively. That's why there's no spoilers.
This is
Where is Crip?
No, but
Crip?
What is Crip?
What? It's just Alexandre Mamprika. What does he mean?
Is that what is Crip?
What is this?
Where is Crip?
What is this?
Do you want me to write?
What is a Crip?
What is Crip?
No, but you can speak with him like verbally.
You know he hears you.
Oh, sorry. Bah, demandez-lui.
This is what you just did.
Okay.
That's a good one though.
So anyway,
We still need to get the hang of it.
Welcome to the future.
So
shall we continue? So yeah, this is retro.
so the idea of
retro
this whole
engineering.
thing is to have this not really detailed, but at least complete vision of
Yes.
everything.
And this, for example, you can do it for other games. For example, GTA 4.
Wow, such a much bigger scope.
So this is
I'm
GTA
joking,
4.
by the way.
I did some afterwards. I did some retro engineering. You know, trying to understand actually what they did, and
He's a YouTuber.
this is. I mean, everybody can do that from about every single game, right? It's just take the game, look at forums, look at websites, and just I don't know, read all the strategy guides. And
Are you
try to
saying
understand
that you would retro-engineer games from other companies?
what?
Are you saying that you would retro-engineer games from other companies?
Well, yeah, I'm saying I'm doing my job as a designer to understand what works well and what I can learn, you know, from others. And GTA is definitely something that everybody should have a look to.
Okay, yes, the mission in GTA 4 are all character-based.
Yeah, you see the story and the main path and what remains optional. So anyway, so
what did you learn from this comparing after doing AC2 scope and then doing GTA 4? Are there any key lessons you learned from there?
Well, actually, the key lesson I had was actually when doing Red Dead.
No, but honestly,
Because
GTA 4
if you
did
look-
influence the mission structure in AC2, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
in a sense. But when you look at what they did for Red Dead, for example, you realize that it was much more streamlined and based on the location stuff. So you really have some big chapters here in terms of progression. You know, you see the main chapters and the characters you meet are really linked to the different type of to the different part of the world. So New Austin is about these characters, and except Edgar Ross from the government that you meet again at the end, it's really much more segmented than GTA 4 was.
Less character.
People don't come back in this.
Okay, okay.
See?
Because
So
there's sort
anyway-
of back and forth all the time in this
Yeah,
mode.
here it's. I mean, the story is much more.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So but you're right. This is about retro engineering,
Yeah.
right? And I think it's always good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, I need to get
It's-
something.
Even after the fact analysis is always good to understand what happened, what worked, what didn't. And studying other games can teach you a lot, basically. So
Ron JV has a question. Well, how long does it take to build one of these charts?
Well, it depends. It depends on the level of details, you know, that you want to go to. Maybe because you could stay at very high level with just listing the characters and listing the big bits of the story. It's really about which level you want to zoom, you know. And what I think is interesting here is you keep the high level. So okay, to answer about the time needed to do that. Okay, to do the AC2 one, so it was retro design. It took me, like I said, I made some tests. I did some tries that were not convincing because too detailed or not enough actually. And this is what I found as the good balance in terms of give a full understanding of the content while not going into too much details. So it took me several weeks, like I said, just trying and doing. But now the good thing is that once I get my recipe, I will say, we started Brotherhood right after AC2, and we needed to be fast, and so actually soon enough the team, the different department of the team started to think about what would be the game about, and in Rome we met, and within 2 days I've adapted the AC2 scope to make this one. So I don't know if we see it.
Doing an economic deconstruction is a long time.
What?
But that for a game like GTA 4 sounds insane. Please update this on YouTube so I can watch it again.
yeah, we'll probably do that later.
Never!
But once again, I mean, this is known content. There is no spoilers. Sorry, Simon, but there is no.
So wait, this one was
confidential
before...
stuff. So yeah, back to Brotherhood. This
Yeah.
one I've made this one actually in 2 days, 2 or 3 days, using the one from AC2.
I recognize pieces that were on the AC2.
Yes, exactly.
basically.
So see, at that level, at that moment, in terms of systems, we knew we would reuse the detection loop. It was working.
It's so well designed.
Because of you, Simon. Right? But then the notoriety loop, we were wondering, do we want to add a positive notoriety or not? The economic system, we had the idea to add some selling and some trading. The viewpoints, we were playing with the idea that it would give some specific locations.
And this is Malik's part, starter and highways.
Yeah, they started that from you, man.
Yeah, that was my first task on SC2.
For example, here, the group manipulations, we said, okay, we want to add the assassins faction. And so this was something that we knew we wanted to be important in the within the game.
It ended up to be a huge feature, actually, right? In the
Yes, yes.
end? Not just a bullet point here.
Exactly, and that's the point. Here, you see the stars, the red stars. So this one, the ROM upgrade system, the assassin upgrade system, and the Animus VR training mission. These were actually at that time. So we were talking December 2009. These were the intentions. And my point here is that it's not because it's not developed yet that you cannot communicate onto it. Many times I've heard, oh, I can't communicate on it, we don't know yet. Okay, but so when will you start to communicate? I mean, when the game will be finished? The only moment where you are supposed to know everything about your game is when it's finished, right? Except for the games that are live. That you right, guys? That you continue to polish with the community, like you what you do. But in our case, so as you can see here, we had the idea of Rome, the different characters.
No, but still, even in a live game, there's a lot of topics that we intend to work on eventually.
Yeah.
That maybe would benefit from communicating ahead, or.
But at least just by saying, okay, Rome upgrade system will be key. Don't ask me what it is because it's not designed yet. But it's important. Okay, everybody knows the same, And so this was in December, I think, or something.
If to go back to it, what worked and what did happen to be in the scope? Is there anything that in the end was? Do you have like the updated version after the fact?
Which one?
Of Brotherhood.
Yeah, that's what I want to show you here. So
you're always a step ahead.
Exactly. So
he also had them pre-opened.
This one was in February. So as you can see now, the red stars are now developed, and so the design are progressing about the rebuilding Rome, the assassin upgrade. The collectibles are still TBD. I mean, we know we will have some, but it's not the focus at that time. The cast is progressing. We still have this very ancient map, the Buffaloni map from I think it's 1540. So it was really close to our time period, and we used it a lot. But we have more indication of the world team, which landmarks we want to be in the game. But there's nothing yet in the engine, so we're using our existing picture. It's okay. We just need to communicate.
Yeah, and we see here already with the maybe cut that the scope is being adjusted over time.
Yes, exactly. It's a work in progress, right? So we there's nothing fixed. So then, few months after,
there's a guy asking. Farfadi is asking which software you're using to make this.
Paint. You use Paint?
What? No, I was using Illustrator.
Okay.
And then you save in PDF. Don't forget to take the option, smallest size possible, or something like that, because such a big scope is not more than 1 meg and something, So it's crazy. And then, so this one is later, and so you can see we have the first in-game map. So the world is emerging. The story and the type of mission is progressing. The characters also. Now we have some design, some character design advanced. The new characters, Cesare Borgia and Lucrezia Borgia here. We still have some that are not yet developed, but we know we will have them. So let's show the silhouettes at least, etc. And so the last one, and so the gameplay loops here.
We see that the Assassin Guild is much more detailed. At
yeah,
this point
exactly. The designs are pretty final here, and so and we see once again that all systems are communicating all together. The economic system is obviously linked to the rebuilding of Rome, but also to the Assassin Guild. And when you free the Borgia Tower, then you open, one house for the Assassin Guild, etc., etc. And so this is indicators that you're doing something which is well integrated. It's not it's not the proof that your game will be good, right? But at least you can say that, okay, we're kind of in control.
It's
of
not
what
isolated system. At least it's a whole.
Yes,
it's synergized
and
together.
you keep a good view of what you're doing, right? Right. So the last one, which was for submission, there is no gameplay loop. because I didn't have time to update them. But this is the final, for example, map of the world here with the actually in-game screenshot. We had all the models of the new guards, etc.
And the story, the narrative
And
side,
the
everything
narrative.
is super
Exactly.
crystal
and so-
clear at this point.
Yes. I know all the side missions, etc. How they are linked, etc.
Cool.
Good.
So
now-
is the scope tool the reason you think why Assassin's Creed Brotherhood was the best Assassin's Creed in the series?
No.
How
No,
about
no.
Assassin 4?
No.
No, I mean before Assassin's 4.
But
Oh my god.
what you want me to say exactly? No, actually,
I think it's a trap.
no. But once
No,
again,
it's a joke.
once again, it's a tool, and it's not the actual. Geez, I can't find my word, but you can't be sure it will be a good game in the end. What I think is that it's a very powerful tool to communicate effectively what we're doing to a big number of people. And the way I see it, what I realized afterwards is that not only is it a good tool to communicate to the team, but also to explain the game to others that are not the developers. Right? So, for example, the upper management or lateral teams, marketing or things like that. Well, actually, you have something that they can understand, even if they're not deep inside. You have a good mapping of what you're telling them.
I think that honestly it is an amazing tool, and I was like the first designer in Assassin's Creed 4, before you even went on the project.
No kidding, that's me who asked you to go there.
Yes.
Nah. You never said that, actually.
So yeah, that's the
Yes,
case.
I know. Yes, I know it.
And the first thing I did when I got on this project was to actually build this scope, and it was an amazing tool because the thing is, these games are so huge, and they have to start from somewhere, right? And if you write a written document that will explain everything, no one will ever read it.
True.
But if you build this visual tool where you try to just put in place everything that will be encompassed in the scope, at least people have a snapshot and they see a bit there will be an economic system, there will be a bit of Facebook, and you can see in a single in 30 seconds you have an idea of everything that will be in the game, and at least you can prepare yourself mentally for what is going to happen. And there was a producer, I won't say his name, who told me, how can you do this thing? The game is not even started, you have no idea. But the thing is, I was kind of gathering a bit the consensus and seeing, he thinks that, he thinks that.
But you're right, that's the point. And actually, I almost got the same reaction when I presented the scope of AC2 after. I was proud of me, I was happy. I said, that's cool. I'm happy to see AC2. And I had some reactions where, but it was easy. I mean, the game was done, right? And I said, no, but you don't understand. This is a development tool, and this is why I used it right away with Brotherhood, right? And actually, I have there's one major thing to I think this is documentation that needs to be put in the physical world, that needs to be printed out and shown, and physically here, right, in your office, because one of the things that I found when coming from the industrial design is that we have so many content done by so many people that are hidden in computers and servers, and so nobody but them know about them. And so showcase, have the things hang, on the wall, and your post-it wall here is really cool because everybody can come in front of it at any time, just with your coffee, almost.
But honestly, it does impress every single person who comes in. He asks, "What is this one?"
And you can already have a physical feeling. It's not just a pure rational understanding. You have the feeling of, remember your wall at the end of Tiny Brains? It was entirely covered, right? And you knew you had something that went from one. I mean, you started with one post-it.
Yeah,
probably. Yeah.
Right. and the entire world was covered.
Now when we
And
go
so
to
the
Bureau en Gros, when we go to Staples, they serve us coffee.
Not really, but we should probably be sponsored by some post-it company at some point. We have so many of those.
But so to me, most important, I mean, print it out, make it big so people can see it and just spend time just staring at it, without, but they will be, they will digest the game without noticing it. First. Second, be aware, like you're saying, that the game will change. And this is why, I don't know if you saw, but there was big, ugly, yellow boxes everywhere.
Especially in mine.
Yeah, but
You saw my scope, did you
Yes,
see it?
I did. Yes, I did. Work in progress, work in progress. Don't worry, everything will change. But at least today, this is the knowledge we have.
But yeah, the idea is that this is a bit the intention that I detected on the team. And as long as I don't have a more precise or better thing, it will remain like that. And as soon as it's better, then I replace it.
Correctly. And so at one point, if you change something in your game, well, you can just say, okay, we're changing things, but only here. So all of a sudden, the feeling is that, okay, we are not changing everything. The game is still, the guy know where we are going. We're adapting this portion, maybe, but it doesn't put in jeopardy the entire thing. Right? So, yeah.
So the thing is, game vision is super complex and it is constantly evolving. So yeah, such a tool is meant to kind of give a simplified version of everything. And the fact that it is simplified allows you to make it evolve. Because if you want to put everything in detail and make it evolve, not possible.
Yeah. Also, it helps anyone to understand what's going on.
Yeah.
And would you say that really helped you on AC4? The time you had wasn't necessarily, you didn't have the most time, it was a challenge. Any AAA is a challenge, and it was like your first time as creative director.
Yes.
How important was this to you?
This tool? Well, it was important to once again put everybody on board. I think that, okay, I have an analogy. Do you have a card game here in the office?
Do we have Card Against Humanity?
No.
No.
Okay.
We can open Hearthstone.
No, but
That's what un jeu de cartes classique.
no, classic card game.
We don't gamble here, so we don't.
Okay, here we go. So
Let's give our tiny brains a lot.
This is a good transition. So okay.
Yeah, we're secretly working on that.
See that as this is Tiny Brains content actually, and I don't know if we will after. Yeah, we should go do it after.
20 minutes.
The 1 hour is not a very hard limit.
No.
Yeah,
Okay, good.
and I think the Crazy Dwarf authorized us to have 5 minutes expansions.
So we have a 5-minute easy.
So
Yeah.
okay, here is the content of Tiny Brains, right?
Ninja,
Piece by piece.
chicks,
Okay.
big enemies,
So
batteries,
think about it.
scientists.
Okay, but Simon. Okay, think about it in terms of
It's so
files. So you have all these files that are spreaded, in computers, on many different computer servers or whatever. So you have the choice. Here is our game. I'll talk to you about Tiny Brains, You can just chat without showing anything. And this is, I don't know, in the end, everybody will leave the room with different... with a different idea of what the game is, right? Then you have the PowerPoint. The PowerPoint is, look, first we have this one, then we have this one. So imagine one slide per subject, per topic, the fight system, the environment, the menu thing, I don't know. It's a PowerPoint, one slide per. When you exit the room, ask your people, what was the slide 13 about? And maybe you focused on the 13, you focused on the 21st, I was paying attention more on the 5th one, right? And once again, it was better than just a pure speech, but chances are good that you went away with, once again, different focus. Now, think about all this content, put it on one paper, right? And post it on your wall. And you have everything that will remind people. So it doesn't prevent you from explaining. I mean, you still need to explain what the different components are. But at least here, on one pager, you have every single component. And so now Simon is looking at the same thing than me, than Malik. And if it's now posted somewhere in the office, we have chance to take our coffee in front of the thing we're making together.
And at least we're discussing about the same thing. And the cool thing is anything that is inaccurate on it, people will keep talking to you about it, and it will evolve naturally toward.
Yes. And now, what happens if it's on paper somewhere on the wall? You know, is that for you? Can you hold it or yeah?
There you go.
Great.
Ah man, we're taking one step ahead. Not two, but one.
But now, okay, so we're discussing, here is our game, right? And I say, okay, you know what, this character, I don't like him.
Right,
You know,
let's make it the bad guy.
So let's make it the bad guy. But
Spoiler.
Oh my god.
you just have to take a pen or something, and you start to change it, you know. Let's put it, you know, some big fancy wings, and with he becomes a vampire, you know. And if you don't agree, and you say, okay, I don't understand what you're meaning, say, please help yourself. How do you see it?
I would say a
How do
giant
you want
robot.
it?
Giant robot because it's a chick, so it should be like a giant robot.
Yeah, I see.
Makes much more sense. The thing though is that I don't know how to draw,
But we don't care.
so it doesn't
We
look
don't
like.
I don't think that's the point of the exercise.
What?
I don't think that's the point of the exercise.
It's not the fun actually. But
yeah, but I feel still.
So we're discussing here about a character, but obviously you can do the same, you know. And now we're actually back in the meeting room, where I think a lot of people are working like that. But when they exit the meeting room, all this common ground, this agreement on a visual, just vanishes. And so I know that we're taking pictures now more and more, you know, etc. But because it's criminal to me to have an agreement, and let's say a design loop, right? Think about we're in a meeting, we agree, you know, on a loop that goes like that, etc. And you need this and this to unlock this final thing, you know, and say, oh, here, boom, cool. We all agree. I don't know if it's visible, but
It is visible.
It is.
Yep.
We all agree on that. If you come back at your desk, send a meeting recap with the bullet point, you're losing half of the information, I'm sure.
No, I do agree.
Right?
Yeah.
So if everybody agrees on that, then use the visuals as a main communication tool, because chances are good that you'll be able to explain that, or that people will understand that on their own if it's posted somewhere in your office.
Yeah, and especially the arrows there, I think, is essential, because that's what sometimes links things together between teams. They realize, oh, so we have to talk because these two features actually are connected.
Yeah.
Makes me think that, why don't we display more stuff? Because we have the post-it and it's awesome. But I remember I used to be a quality engineer. We're in a cardboard factory. And my object, it's not exciting at all, but still, my objective was to reduce the amount of réclamation, of complaints.
Good.
And what I did was a huge whiteboard where I would show the amount of complaints we receive every single week, why, like the topics, the reason, and just by displaying that, just by explaining how many complaints we receive and why, and like what are the main topics, and explaining them, the complaint start dropping, because people understand, okay, fuck, we always mess up with the colors and the cut and just because they see that every single day, they start shaping their mind around that. So
I think anything you do, you should always start by stepping back, you know, by taking the time to zoom out a little bit and embrace the situation, to understand the context, to understand the ingredients you have at your disposition to do something, and then you can start to craft. Going straight forward, you know, with like a bully, may work, but it depends at the level of complexity you're dealing with, right? Now, do you want to do the exercise, the full exercise with Tiny Brains?
I really like this presentation. It's awesome. Something you learn about the games. Okay, cool. Cool. I'm
good.
No, I don't necessarily.
Actually, I have one question about the tool. So, at what frequency do you actually update your chart?
That's a good question. Thank you for asking it.
So, by the way, this is Phil.
Yeah.
For those who don't know Phil, he is the guy who don't see. we don't see, but like he says, clever stuff as opposed to.
Yeah. He's the voice asking clever questions. At which frequency? Well, it depends on your needs. Generally, at Ubisoft, we have a process and we regularly meet the upper management, and so these milestones are quite a good moment because this is really a moment where the game needs to be. We have a formal presentation, and so we need actually to master, to control, to know really well what we will present, obviously. So these are good, and obviously it's several months, but it depends on the size of your project and the speed you want to develop it, and you need to develop it. Obviously, the more often you can do it, the better. Now it's always a question of balance. You don't want to spend every single day updating a tiny little things. So major updates, I would say, for this type of project I show you for Brotherhood, for example, the different examples, maybe each 2 or 3 months, something like that. So each update is really something important, and we made some progresses.
Cool.
Makes sense?
Yeah. Cool.
I have a thing to show you, because the thing is, it's a tool that I made for Tiny Brains.
Yes.
And when I was doing that, I thought Jean would be glad of that. It's an exercise we made because there was so we kind of went to a consultant who told us your game is kind of promising, but it's a bit all over the place. It's a bit non-coherent.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of tried to build a tool to analyze our content and its progression and its coherency. So this is what I did. It won't be seen on the. Can we tape it?
Sure.
So the thing is, I did this exercise for 2 games, for our game and for Portal, because I felt like Portal was.
See, you're doing 2 retro design, right?
I was joking, by the way, when I said that.
No, but it's a good practice. I mean, that artists. I mean, every single famous artist or whatever, they started by copying. They started by understanding what the masters were doing good and well, right?
Yeah.
So
and honestly, Portal for me is a freaking masterpiece.
It is a masterpiece.
And also, it is the game in terms of structure that is the closest to us. It's a linear game, it's a puzzle game, and it's a game based on physics power.
Okay.
Cannot be closer than that. It's not multi, but still.
Yeah, so why reinvent the wheel when you have a direct reference to start from? Even if you don't do exactly the same, it's already a big start than having to rediscover whatever they took months to do, basically.
And
it's more humble. It's more humble. I mean,
absolutely.
Dozens of persons have thought about probably the same thing than you are. And so why not acknowledge that and see already what answers they found? Maybe you will disagree on their answer or their direction, but at least you can benefit from that.
Yeah.
So, before I get started on this,
yes,
I think that is amazing that I discovered about Portal by doing that, is how clever their progression is.
Really?
Because in Portal, there's a constant. The constant is everyone finds the answer to every single puzzle, and everyone feels smart for doing so. But no one fails, but everyone feels smart. You see what I mean? It's like you feel smart,
yes,
but no one won't feel smart. No one will fail it. And how does it work? But the reason is every single time they propose you like a hardcore puzzle, the actual solution was proposed 2 maps before. And the really little subtlety that you needed was kind of hinted at you before you arrive in this big puzzle where so they kind of did it super smartly. And also they have like these maps where you...
But do you think it's the Nintendo, kind of formula with the tutorial, when you learn, when you teach things, then you validate, then you challenge?
I don't know if they got this inspiration from Nintendo, but the one thing I noticed is each time there was like something where I felt super smart about, the solution was actually hinted at me 2 maps before. This made it obvious.
So is this one Portal or for Tiny Brains?
This one is Tiny Brains.
Okay.
So I did that for Portal and I felt everything was smooth and so what is this? So
do you see it?
Yeah, we can.
It's
I will say stuff.
Okay.
So I don't have the Portal one here, but in Portal the difficulty curve is super smooth, and also it's very well thought because at one point there is a peak of difficulty super long, and then you get the Portal gun, and then you feel super powerful for a while, so it makes you like, so there's a lot of subtleties like that where, so then we took a look at our own game, because we have been told that the game was not coherent and the progression was not straight, and by doing that, by having this, and this was the chapter 1. So what is there on this thing? So there is the gameplay type, so there's puzzle, cinematic, puzzle, toy, ball, action adventure, combat, and then so there's a lot of gameplay types, and then this is the difficulty level. So this is easy, very easy, medium, hard, and just by having this kind of visual, and this is the skill you learn. And the thing also is that you learn a lot of new stuff. New. Each time it's written new, it means you learn a new skill.
Yeah.
So it feels like we're a bit obsessed by having a lot of variety.
Mm-hmm.
So much that we were learning new stuff all the time. And it kind of shown us how did we define the difficulty, because we made a lot of playtests and we knew how long people would take to solve every single map. And it just put a lot of accent on the fact that why the fuck is this like that all over the place? Why do we have like things that are not progressing coherently?
Okay.
Why?
So you mean why is it becoming really hard?
Yeah.
Very soon, when actually becoming easy again.
Yeah.
Few levels after.
Exactly.
Okay.
So we did not have a real intention.
Or
We
even introduction of new ingredients, new gameplay types, all that stuff basically was. We realized like, holy shit, we introduced like 3 new ingredients back to back, and you not even get the chance to use them the second time before we move on. Stuff like that. It's.
So we did that in June after E3.
Okay.
And then based on
You
that,
revamped entirely.
we redesigned the entire walkthrough. This is when the writer went completely nuts.
but now what interests me is how did you do that? Did you use the exact same tool to say, for example, just by saying, you know what, this one we want it here. Did you swap? How did you?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Okay.
Pretty
that's
much
how we
it.
approached
Exactly.
Okay, good. So you redid that.
Yeah, we reshuffled the chart so that it made sense, like the difficulty level and the ingredients being introduced, and we bunched a lot of the similar type of puzzles, like a tutorial, like first test, second test, and then final boss level type of thing.
But you did the chart.
Yeah, we kept the chart going the entire time.
You
Yeah.
Right.
basically pick the pieces and move them around
Right.
so that it's
You
cohesive.
don't have it printed out?
The other
What?
chart?
The new chart.
No, I think we just.
Yeah, we kind of
have
completely.
drawn-
But you gave it. You gave the chart to the writer.
No. I have it, but I
Yeah?
don't have it printed.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
okay.
did that in PowerPoint, but I did do it.
Okay. So
Yeah.
anyway, but that's indeed because.
So we kind of had this specific problem of non-currency, and then I thought, okay, we need like an overview.
But you know, I think that one thing that a game developer should never ever forget is the user.
Mhm.
In the end. And so this is why also in my scope I always put the game progression at the top left of the poster, because this is the key, this is the more important thing, right? It's about the experience of the player.
Mhm.
How do we welcome the player,
Mhm.
and how do we progressively drag him? Wow.
So what are you bringing this other chapter?
Charts, yeah.
So-
Okay, so yeah, the
Progression.
exercise. Yeah, we can see what we were. Okay, so it's exactly what you said actually.
Okay.
This one. It's funny because you kind of just shown this like
Thank you.
theoretical idea, but see what we were doing, like this comfort and like this should
Yeah.
go there, this should go there.
You
Naturally.
exactly.
And then sometimes you see a new arrow like this. We need something there somehow. There's
Yeah.
something weird in that section. Sometimes we just cut parts like, okay, this makes absolutely no sense in the flow. We need to get rid
Yeah,
of it.
there's problems with spikes in difficulty because we didn't have a second puzzle easing people into what we're trying to teach them.
Yeah,
And then we test them right away, and then we like bang, and people hit the wall. And that's
we were
why-
kind of constantly showing something new, and there was never this kind of okay, you're in your comfort
Yeah,
zone.
okay. I
Yeah.
have
You
time,
rock with
and
what
then,
you learned. Yeah.
Give me
Yeah.
some rest. Give me some just easy fun, you know, or actually enjoying what I just learned.
It allows you to feel you've mastered the game at some point. Otherwise, like, wow, this game is so hard.
Another thing is that we kind of realized that every journalist at E3 said this puzzle game is awesome, the puzzles are so clever and stuff. And then we watch at our poster, and the little cowboy hat or Indiana Jones hat are action adventure. And these little things are puzzle challenge. And we kind of realized that we were not really a puzzle game. We kind of pretend we are this at E3 and then we are not that.
Okay.
So we felt like, okay, we're kind of lying right now.
So what did you do? Did you change your message or did you add some more puzzles?
We added puzzles.
Okay,
kind of
to fit the feeling that journalists had and the fact that, yes, actually you are selling the game.
Meet the actual promise that our demo actually...
And also the other types of levels weren't like... We hadn't tried them enough to the point where where people were having as much fun as the puzzles, and that's the problem. We realized like the action adventure stuff, we cut a lot of it because we tried some of them and we weren't sure what really that type of map was going to be, and then we decided like no, for the scope of things, we just get rid of them.
So you progressively realized that what your identity was really actually a puzzle game, that what people was perceiving about your game, and so you decided to fully embrace it and bring some more content and more polish on this and maybe remove some.
It's also what set us apart, basically.
Sorry?
A co-op puzzle game, there aren't that many of those. While action adventure... Well, Portal 2
Portal 2 now is...
there's always Portal.
Fucking Portal.
But we're full-player co-op, so...
But this charts to me it's insane what you did, guys, because for a very small like that, I mean, this map was based on your playtest.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So
we had a very precise vision of what was easy and what was hard.
So even if you're just a really young studio, you know, starting, you already had the good reflex to first prototype a lot. I know you were, because I mean that's how you guys work.
If there's a thing we're doing, it's that.
But having that is really key, because it's the proof that you were considering your user as the most important thing, right? And then, in terms, if we go back to the tool per se, that's exactly. So you all work on something, a paper right? I'm laughing because there's no magic here. I mean, I'm here with my scopes. Okay, I think it's cool tool, etc. But there's nothing. I mean, people did it before, people are doing it after. I heard, you know, from GDC that Volition also is doing the same when developing Centro. So, I mean, there's nothing unique here. What I'm saying is that it's not a tool you should neglect, right? Neglect, and it, in my opinion, it's something now that it's important to me when in development, and I'm actually requiring it. And asking for it. And the good thing for big production is that the high level I've shown you, the big boxes can be then, you could say this box is this team, and then you zoom in, and this team does its own scope for its own mandate, enlarging it. And for Black Flag, for example, we had the Singapore team that they did their own thing. Yes, no, but they're great, they're super great. And so they did their own scope of what they were bringing to the game, and with their own scope, they did another scope, which was just the listing of all the ships, of all the boats of the game. So, you know, it's totally scalable. This is also what I like, is that everybody from, you know, the floor, at the team level, at the studio level, or whatever, it's up to you. It's fully scalable.
Cool. Let's see a bit what people are saying. So, Crazy Raz, I know people sometimes just hate games, are very linear and very repetitive mechanics, but my question, I'll try to translate.
How can you make a game very replayable?
Yeah, that's essentially what the question is.
Yeah. So, do you think, especially with this notion of scope, you can reflect on that and actually improve on that aspect?
Replayability?
Yeah, specifically.
Well,
or
yeah,
in general.
In general, as with the scope, I think that it's not only scalable but fully customizable scope. So I would expect, for example, the tiny brain scope to be different than the one I've shown. You know,
it's much bigger.
Yes, for sure, for sure. If you count every single polygon, but
even then,
yeah.
No. But I'm kidding. The thing is, every single game with its own genre, you know, will have its own specific scope. Now, for the replayability, my answers would be: if you want your game to be replayable, you need mechanics that support that. You need gameplays that support that. And then, if you want to represent that, I'm sure there is a visual way to represent it.
That's the thing. Every single objective has its own visual tool. Like what I did is not the tool you did.
No,
because we had a linear game, we did not have a sandbox game.
Yeah.
So what I did was a partition, because a linear game is a song. It's a partition. No, but seriously, this is what it is, right?
Actually, someone earlier said the mission structure on AC2, I think, looked like a music sheet, basically. So.
But because there's a linear aspect in Assassin's Creed.
You're right. So,
the story is linear.
The story is linear, so it is a partition.
Yeah, and then you look at the systemic stuff, and it's loops and stuff that moves around.
So basically, every single aspect or every single objective has its own visualization tool, depending on what you're trying to achieve.
Yes, so this is why there's no recipe for this. It's really up to you to try to represent as well as you can your own specific things.
So Phonox says, truly great presentation. I'm gonna use bits of it and adapt it to other stuff. What are you a game developer, Phonox?
Like other stuff, like
what?
Like building furniture,
like real life.
Well, it could work, but
what do you say?
Question: you talked about the pros of this document. Any cons? It takes time.
Any disadvantage to using this method?
Yes. Okay, that's a good question, because you have to be very, very careful because this is a very, very powerful tool. I mean, visuals are really powerful, and advertisement, you know, and publicity knows that. Images are really powerful, and so it's easy to convey wrong things. Or to badly convey good things, you know, and to actually screw your intentions. I don't have the visuals actually. That would be nice to find them. But for example, think about the healthcare plan. You know, the Obamacare, right? Obama, US, etc. With the big health
from United
in
States.
the US, yes. So you had this really cool thing where Republicans that were against, they've just shown a terrible visual, you know. It's like a Visio with tons of arrows everywhere. It's just, you don't get anything. And they were saying, this is Obamacare, it's terrible, it's just throwing money through the windows, right? On the other side, you had the Democrats that were supporting the plan. They did a very nice, you know, graphic design, visual, saying, look at how simple it is, look at how well, you know, thought it is, organized, etc. It's really cool. So visuals are powerful, and so you need to make sure you present well what you want, because it can become very scary for people if it's really messy with, you know, if it's not organized, if it's not structured, people will really think that's what you have in mind, a messy, fuzzy thing.
So yeah, the thing is you can twist your visuals to make them say stuff that they are not meant to say or whatever.
So there is the problem of having a poor presentation. So if it's not really clear and obvious, people will get scared because it's confusing. Or you have the other danger, which is doing a very nice, actually, you know, very stylish presentation that is really impressive. Wow, visually it looks good, it looks wow, fine, etc. But which is actually empty. You know, and you need also to be honest in the sense that you could do a terrific visual that means nothing.
Yeah, the thing is, like, there are some people, and it exists, that if something is written, it means that it's true.
Yeah.
And then if you write something that is not the end of a process that makes sense, then you're printing in people's head something that does not make sense.
Yes. So if you're if you're a good seller with a very good graphic, even if you're doing crap, you can make people happy and saying really excited, you know, and that's lying. And
so it's a very good tool in the hand of good, and it's an evil tool in the hand of evil.
Double-edged sword. Yeah.
It would be a good, but it's always, you know, and you know, you guys know that about transparency and honestly, you know, what developing your game live with the community is something, it's really impressive, and so you're not the ones that will need to explain that, but yeah, you need to be honest.
But that's the thing also. Yeah, I feel like there was some people scared when we started first with this community project, and the thing is, you're never sure, like how people will react. But the thing is, if you are honest and you have true into a genuine, people react the right way, and this is why we just try to be transparent, and we try to educate people and to just say the real things.
Yes.
So that people can really react to it. So.
And this is the best. I mean, the more honest you are, then it can only be good somehow, because if you succeed, then well, people will be happy. If you struggle, if you have difficulties, people will understand and trust you, right? And so, but this is why I was also emphasizing the big yellow boxes. You know, it's work in progress. We don't have all the answers now. This is the current state of the project. This is the current intention. It will change. It will evolve. That's the natural process of it. Don't be scared of that, but be aware that's where we're at.
Before we go to this, you make me think that actually in the community, I've been personally asked, guys, we would like to have more info on what you are working on. What are your priorities? So at least we'll know that this is in progress and we won't push on it.
Duoscope.
But the thing is,
so that's what I was thinking.
So I did start to write like weekly priorities of what we're doing. But actually, if we had like this kind of scheme of what we will be working on and this kind of global ideas of what we have in mind, maybe at least it will show people this is something we're working
when
on.
When are we supposed to finish?
Yeah, we will finish.
Oh,
no, but I was.
It's not TV. We don't get cut off by some other.
No, we can. He has the button to cut us, and he will do it forever.
As long as we have people on Twitch, we'll keep going.
But my question was, do you want to start?
To make the scope for our game?
Yeah.
For Project Cypher.
Okay.
Project Cyber, why not?
Cyber.
That's super interesting.
Before or after Roi de la Magouille?
Oh, should we take a Roi de la Magouille break?
We can take a break, yeah.
Alright, let's do a Roi de la Magouille break. And just so you know, Sergeant Bacon thinks G-Dash should become part of Spearhead. I totally agree. So,
yeah, it's actually like an interview for hiring.
Yeah, I think the community approves that
we're building a brand, so you used to be a brand manager. Basically, we're making a brand every year, so you
Okay, so it was a trap.
Yeah, it's a trap.
Also, we... Okay, no.